Yeah, I got one more that I want to throw out there. Is that like they made all the villains pretty relatable for the most part. They gave them a pretty good like you understand where they're coming from. When there's always like there's a big scene where like they're fighting, they get into the past, and you get where they're at, like with Todoroki and his brother and Toga. You know, you get that, or with Endeavor, but like with Toga,
that was gonna be my thing,
right?
Too, yeah.
And Ochako, like I don't see how like where. It's a little bit of a stretch to try to make you feel bad for her. I mean, she has some problems,
right?
Mental issues,
and she had a weird, freaky power, and it weirded everybody out.
Exactly, right.
I get that.
Yeah. But she is a bit of a psychopath, right? If you were to really put it on paper,
yeah.
And for Ochako to try to come in and be like, I understand.
Yeah, that
take all my blood. I was like,
that got a little.
You're kind of giving in like a serial killer.
You guys are trying way too hard to make a connection.
Point.
Yeah, to make us care about her and try to connect them together. You know?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think I'm very lenient on it, but like as you just stated, it's like this feels like kind of a forced rivalry in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, the real point was basically it's like, oh look, two cute chicks that like Deku, let's pin them against each other.
Weird love triangle
also I mean like Toga needs some kind of foil, so like oh here's Ochako, fucking there you go. And like I feel like this feels kind of forced, and also like I think you touched on, it's like she just kind of looks like a psychopath, which to me is more of a thing. It's like I think you guys could have done a better job of kind of maybe diving into Toga's past a bit, because like aside from that, okay, got it. Creepy power, shitty things, like just a lack of understanding, and again, it kind of touched on the whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, we got to fix her problem, things like that. Basically, we live in a society. That's kind of the whole thing, kind of crushing her and kind of steering her, and no one's like correcting her, but more like, well, maybe trying to figure out what is her power. Because at this point, I didn't really I didn't even think about it. It's like, oh shit, your power does have some medical use. Like you could, like, this is another case of like, oh, I mean, it's just like, oh yeah, she's like a psycho that takes people's blood and fucking eats it and becomes them. It's like, but also apparently you replicate blood, and like, wow, that you could have been like a nurse or a doctor or something like that.
Healer girl, or whatever her name is.
Pretty much. So it's like it's interesting. It's like, oh, there is definitely a spin on that, and like there was used to it. It's just from a psychological standpoint, there is just some fucked off bullshit going on up there, and it boiled down to, again, it's like, oh no, child neglect. Who would have thought that this would have problems in the future?
Right. Yeah.
But I do feel like the whole. I think her character probably could have been explored a bit more, and it just kind of feels like an awkward, like kind of forced together like rivalry, because it really boils down to, we like the same guy, we need to talk, and it's like, really, is there no other way to kind of like
and there's really a competition between like out of all those two girls, who do you think Deku's gonna end up with? It's what are you like? That's not even a real.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the manga author literally at some point, and it's like, he literally just kind of made them for each other. It's like there's a reason.
It's kind of actually like a little bit insulting to like boil it down. Like the only thing that these two characters can bring is love, and fighting over a boy.
Yeah.
That's the biggest part of their personality.
Because I think Toga is actually one of the more interesting characters out of the whole shit too. But I feel like
like her,
and I just kind of feel it was it's like I wish you did a little more of that and kind of touching her more. But I mean, again, look how big the cast is and how many people you got to cater to. I mean, there's a reason we're like over 150 episodes since this bitch. I thought gripes done on that one for me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she was more interesting when she was like getting revenge for twice. Like that was
actually a really great motivation. I really liked that.
And like for Hawks to be like, I gotta end this now. If I take him out, that's gonna be it. But he actually caused it to be made it worse. Really made it worse in the end because of her response to it.
So at the very least, I will say it's like, all right, cool. At least we got like a really solid motivation for like why she's going so far and staying with the villains and things. Because if you remember, it's like there are definitely times where it's like, fuck, do I want to be here?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it's like it was twice that kind of kept her there, and it basically turned into a revenge story for her.
Yeah, which is fine,
which is great. But like in terms of like
talks her down.
Yeah, the whole talking down thing. It's like Yeah, I get it. It's second to last season. You gotta close off, and
it's a fine ending. It's beautiful. She decides to give her blood to Chaco to keep her alive.
It was
nice.
It was a very beautiful scene, very pretty. It's I enjoyed it. I'm like, but like when you sit here and think about it, it's like. It's kind of stupid in some ways.
Anyway, how did we get here? Wait a minute.
It's like, wait a second.
Backtrack it real quick.
Yeah, so it's one of those things with me and just like anime in general. Yeah. It's like, there are certain things I turn my brain off to just so I can sit here and go. It's like, if I think too hard, I can ruin every show I've watched, and I just. I'm here to here to watch the pretty pictures move, listen to the great music and shit, and just hear a story and just take it in. Honestly,
that's fair. That's what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do.
If you're watching,
and to be fair, at least with this, it's like, okay, I don't have to do that nearly as much. I mean, there are some shows where it's like.
You really got to suspend disbelief, to get through it. But I mean, it's hard. But it's hard to really complain about this show because it's overall.
It's a very good show. I mean, I would say what we're doing is like. Yeah, we're just nitpicking the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But like, all in all, there's a reason so many people like it. I mean, there's a reason I'm still watching it after all these years. It's like, new season out. Fucking dropping at least a few other shows that I planned on watching this season.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
I won't dwell on this too much, but this, I think, because there are like a few nitpicks and that kind of thing. To me, it feels like it's your typical, not your typical shonen kind of thing, but I think after watching so many shonens like all my life kind of thing, you start to like, okay, they're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There it is. There it is. There it is. So it's still a good show.
Yeah.
For me, it's not as popular to me as I think it is in America. It's a very popular show, right? With a lot of people, it's very popular.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like it that much. I enjoy it. I still do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I want to see how it ends. I've heard the ending's going to be very trippy, or the ending's going to be maybe a little controversial.
Oh, so, interesting. Okay.
So yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah. I'm very curious too. Someone that's into the manga and all that saw it. Read it.
That's about to say. The holy wars that will come out over that one.
Yeah, and that's it's gonna be something like that.
Yeah,
I think I want to say he compared it to Attack on Titan's ending.
I still need to actually watch the final episodes of that.
Okay,
I've watched everything except the final episode. So it's
I hope it's not like bad though. I didn't like the ending of Attack on Titan.
It's
controversial's okay.
Yeah,
but.
That's what we'll have to wait and see. I did not want to know.
Yeah, at this point, I just plan on starting from the beginning and watching as I go, because at this point, it's like it's been so long in gaps. Like that's a story you have to see all through once.
Yeah,
I kind of wonder if my feelings on My Hero Academia would change if I had done that.
Yeah.
But so that's a whole other thing, and like how you experience the show and how that can kind of tweak your mindset, because like. You had a few more nitpicks to give on this one.
Yeah.
Just because you remembered more, because it's fresh in your head.
Yeah.
And I'm sure as you are going through this, just just grinding through it for the past 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure for me, the flashbacks were just like, oh yeah, more flashbacks. And I'm sure it's like, I have year breaks between.
Yeah.
True. You got them all one after the other.
Yeah,
it's
right. So
I'd imagine.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, a very good point. Yeah, a lot of shows I've had to binge watch, like animes we've covered. I've had to watch them all.
Yeah.
In a very short time period, so I've had a lot more to say about it.
Yeah, some are much better that way. Some are actually worse that way.
Yeah,
it really kind of depends.
Very good point. Very good point. Any more negatives before we get into the rating? Then?
No, really. Yeah, let's get into a rating.
All right. So on a scale from 1 to 100, where are you sitting with season 7?
That's a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say for season 7, I'm just gonna go the school grading rubric. And it's I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'd say 85 out of 100. It's you get a solid B+.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's about to say it's really good. I'm kind of tainted from the fact that I just watch way too much anime. I've seen so much.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But there have definitely been parts of the show when you're taking a look at it in comparison. It's there's a lot of high moments here, but there is some really good moments in the context of the show in the past and whatnot. So it's high up there, But also, it's like I'm saying, it's like, there's some like animation, like drops here and there, some slowdowns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so it's like 85 out of 100. Take that for what you will.
Yeah.
I mean,
For
I don't know.
season 7, what do you give the whole show overall? The whole, all the
if you
seasons.
take
Oh,
all
the
into
whole.
account.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole.
Same number or
Yeah.
higher, lower?
Honestly, I would probably maybe. I would say like give it a solid 80.
80?
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
but I say give it a solid 80.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Watch
Yes,
season 7's gonna come out and it's like fuck this shit. Like it's trash.
Yeah.
Don't watch it.
I think I think overall the show, like, it's not like
Because you liked it,
that's
right?
everything, but I enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
I really have fun with the show, man. That's the key for me, is that it's a fun show.
Yeah.
With a lot of interesting characters, a lot of creativity, and it stands out in a lot of the anime that I've seen recently. Like when I was trying to get back in anime, like like I freaking Fairy Tail, Chainsaw Man, all the ones I started trying to watch that were recommended to me, I just didn't care about. But this kept my interesting. I was kind of fun with it. I had fun with it. So if I'm gonna say like season 4 and season 6 are like 95s to me.
Oh, wow.
This season 7 is probably like a 82, 83. It was good, but like just being able to see everything as much as I did over the last couple of months, I feel like I can kind of gauge each season in a lot of ways. And season 7 was good, but I didn't love it as much as I was excited about season 4.
You're coming off fresh with some good shit.
Yeah, like, I'm really seeing it all as a whole, and so it was good. I just had a lot of issues with how they resolved things and the way the story was told and how it was arranged. But still, a fun show, man. I can't imagine people not liking it, and I see why the show is so popular. Mark, percentage wise,
maybe like an 80. I'm not going to complete. It's not bad. I recognize that, but I feel like it's, to me, the exciting thing there. I mean, the whole concept of the whole quirk and know Deku getting the power and him trying to be what he is it's very cool. Yeah. But a lot of the stuff feels like it's, I don't want to say redundant necessarily, but it's not anything that's like, oh, I feel like I've seen enough of it where it's not anything that's really got me riveted. You know what I mean? Like for example, like to me, Chainsaw Man is more interesting than this world is.
Okay.
I 100% get that it's very popular. It's got superheroes, which is cool. I like the little nods that they have for American superheroes. That's great. The series overall, I might give that like maybe like an 85 or an 87. Okay. You know what I mean? And this was a pretty good season. And I think there have probably been better ones. I think 6 might have been my favorite. Yeah,
that's great.
6 was very
pretty
strong.
dark, pretty
Like, I think it made it even better because that was coming off that was basically coming off of it a bit of a lull and shit just ramped up. Yeah. So basically that was a really strong it kicks everything off and like it's I think that made it really stand out. And like that's probably why I'd also agree. It's like, I actually kind of like season 6 a bit better just because like, like the whole impetus of like kind of getting into the final bit here, and they started off strong. Really good.
And maybe if more of the seasons were more like 6, that would I would like it more. Like I think even I don't know, maybe it was the first season. I think when they got attacked in the school, I think it was the first season, and All Might's fighting one of the Nomus. Nomus for the first time, and it was like I was like on the edge of my seat, like holy shit, he's about to get found out. He's gonna die. Like I was like like grabbing like I was white knuckled, and it was all a bluff.
Yeah. If he attacked me now, I would have been taken out.
I thought that was great. I loved that. But then I think everything else, it got kind of, shonen tropey for me. Yeah. So, and again, man, I've been watching anime for like 40 years. So it's been a minute. So
that's fair. Yeah. Yeah. You do have a longer history of it too.
Yeah. And I don't know.
It's harder to find those like magic moments in those shows where it's like, wow, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because or new. It's like, it's with any media really. It's like the more you're exposed to, it's like you're gonna see some of this stuff crop up, and it just gets a little harder to get like the tingle down your spine, the shiver. It's like when something like cool happens. So these days now it's like, those rare occurrences like, whew, that was fucking good. But definitely few and far between now. And like you said, it's like you've seen this shit probably 100 times over.
Or variations
of it.
Yeah.
So it's lost a lot of its impact.
Yeah. And that's for me again,
That's fair.
Your mileage may vary.